was a nice dream. Oh, I gotta make some dinner. Oh, do you miss the beach? Do you want to go back to the beach? I do too. I really, really miss it. Do you want to try to bring the beach to us? Even if I'm cooking seafood? Come on, let's go.
I've always thought of food as a love language. It's a way of caring for ourselves and others. Through food, we can share our traditions with each other and pamper our loved ones with dietary needs, with recipes that aren't just delicious, but nourish the soul. It's a way of coming together. And when we infuse our food with love and caring, it makes the world a better place.
Cooking with Steph.
Sometimes I don't like waking up from my own dreams. I love the beach. It's one of my favorite places to be. It's where I feel the most calm, the most grounded, the most connected to everything. And I also really, really love seafood. Now, this recipe that we're going to make today is stuffed salmon with mashed cauliflower and a side of roasted broccolini. And this recipe sounds fancy schmancy, but it's so easy to make in your own kitchen. It brings you to the beach, and it's a little bit naughty and a little bit nice, but it's so low carb. So for our friends that are maybe on the keto diet or trying to keep their carb levels low, this is a great meal. Now, before we get started, we want to make sure that our oven is preheating to 375 degrees, and we have a large pot of salty-ish water, kind of like the ocean, but not that salty, boiling on the stove. You can add about a teaspoon and a half to your water, and it will help add flavor to your cauliflower as it's boiling. Speaking of cauliflower, let's get to our cauliflower. We need 2 heads of cauliflower, or you can get a couple bags from the grocery store, but you want to chop off the top of the cauliflower into little florets, but you really don't want them to get any bigger than this. Otherwise, later on, it's going to make your food processor's job a lot harder. So we're going to take our cauliflower and we're going to bring it over to our nice boiling pot of salty water, and we're just gonna dump it on in there. Oof, make sure not to splash on yourself like I just did. And there we go. Now, if you notice that you have a little bit more cauliflower than water, just add some more. Stir it on in there. We're just gonna stir this around for a second to make sure that all of your cauliflower is submerged in the water. And the great thing that I love about this side dish is that it tastes just like mashed potatoes, but without the carbs. It's awesome. So we're going to cover this while we prep our salmon. Now we want to make sure to turn our heat down to medium so that nothing boils over and we don't have any natural disasters. So let's make some filling for our salmon. We're going to start out with 4 ounces of cream cheese, and we're just going to smash it up a little bit. It should be nice and soft. You can leave it sit out for a little bit before you start making it. It makes it a little easier. Next, we're going to need 4 ounces of frozen spinach, thawed out. I know it's a little bit of an oxymoron. And then you strain it and you squeeze all of the water out of it so that your filling doesn't get mushy. There we go. Mix that on up. Two tablespoons of chopped scallions adds a little bit of sweetness and a little bite. And last but not least, a 1/3 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. Oh, yeah. And now we stir it on up. Just keep stirring, just keep stirring, just keep stirring, stirring, stirring. What do? We stir, stir. Oh, 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 I love to stir. I love Dory from Finding Nemo. She's one of my favorite characters. I feel like she's my spirit animal because we both happen to be just a wee bit forgetful sometimes, which can be slightly problematic. And although she says fish are friends, not food, and I love the fishies are gonna be the food in this segment. So now that this is all mixed up, everything's well incorporated together, it's time to stuff our fishies. So gotta get rid of these first. Okay, now it's time to stuff our 4 beautiful salmon fillets that you can buy at the grocery store. And it's super easy. We're going to take our salmon fillet and make a deep cut in the center of it to make a pocket. Come and watch me do it. Danger, danger, danger. I'm using the big girl knife. Just don't cut yourself. I've done it before. It's not fun. Don't cut yourself. Okay, let's go. So we're just gonna cut in here. And you wanna get almost to the back of the salmon, but not quite. And you're just cutting it almost in half, like that. And see, we've made a little pocket. Now we're gonna do this to the rest of our salmon. Okay, now that we're done with this weapon, it is time to stuff our salmon with our delicious filling. So, we're going to take about 1 tablespoon or big spoon of the filling, and we're gonna put it in our salmon. So we open up that little mouth of a pocket and whoop, it's eating the filling right on up there. We just gotta get it on in there. Now, let's stuff the rest of these fishies. All right, let's season these babies. So we're going to need a little bit of pink Himalayan sea salt. Regular sea salt totally works too. A decent amount of lemon pepper. And this next step is a little secret that I also used with the pesto chicken parm, which I'm going to use here. You're gonna take about 3/4 of a stick of butter and a 1/2 cup of olive oil and melt the butter into the olive oil, and you're gonna put this in the bottom of your pan. So you wanna get this all around the edges, in between. If some gets on top, not a big deal. And then you just wanna take it and do a little dance. Do a little dance. And last but certainly not least, we're gonna add a little bit of lemon juice on the top and in the sides of our pan. This really brings out the flavor of the salmon and it goes beautifully with the filling. Just gonna do a little squeeze here. Make sure everything's coated, get a little bit more on the bottom. And we're gonna make it dance again. Our fish is prepped, but we're just gonna set it aside while we prep our broccolini. Okay, like all of my dishes, I always wanna use a sensible vegetable, and today we are going to be using broccolini. So you'll see I have cut off the stems and just used the little florets, and this is light and delicious, and we're gonna make it nice and bright to go with our dish. So, first things first, a little bit of olive oil. All right, just drizzle a little bit of that on here. And now we're going to take about 2 teaspoons of Parmesan cheese, a 1.5 teaspoons of minced garlic, a little bit of salt, and now we're going to use a little bit of lemon pepper to tie in the lemony flavor of the salmon and the broccolini. All right, now that we got all of our ingredients in there, it's time to get our hands in there again and mush it all up. So we're getting everything incorporated nicely, our Parmesan, our garlic, our lemon pepper, our salt, so it's all coated nice and evenly over the broccolini. Gotta rinse my greasy hands off. Okie dokie, it is time to get our salmon and our broccolini in the oven at 375 for 25 minutes. Let's go. You want to make sure your salmon goes on the top rack and your broccolini goes on the bottom. All right, while that is cooking, we are going to get our mashed cauliflower ready. So we're gonna turn our stove off. Our cauliflower by now should be nice and steamed. By the time you prep your broccolini and salmon, it's the perfect amount of time for your cauliflower to be ready. So we're gonna take the lid off of this. We're going to take our strainer and we're going to put it in our clean sink. And then we're gonna put our oven mitts on, no burny. And we're gonna drain this cauliflower. There we go. Oh, we don't want it to topple out of there. Let me get it the other side. Do not put this pot in the dishwasher because you're gonna need it later. Now, we are going to take our food processor. Now, I have to be honest, my old food processor, may she rest in peace, Bessie, miss her very much, but now we have Ethel, and Ethel's awesome. She's a little bigger than Bessie, and she can get the job done. So we're gonna take off our lid. Oh, she's being a little stubborn. We're going to get our cauliflower out of here, and we're gonna dump it in here. Careful, oops, a little spillage. All right, so this is Ethel's maiden voyage, so we're gonna put her lid on her, close her on up, and we're gonna put this on high. She's strong. I like her a lot. All right, let's see how we're doing here. Take our lid off. We want to scoop around and see how it's doing. And you see it's pretty mashed up. So it's time to start adding some of our other ingredients. So we have a 1/4 stick of butter. We have a 1.5 teaspoons of salt. And we have 2 teaspoons of minced garlic. Gonna put the lid back on. Close her on up. And here she goes. All right, I think it's time for a little taste. I can get this lid off. All right, let's see. That is absolutely delicious. It seriously tastes like mashed potatoes, but it's cauliflower and you're not getting all those carbs. Don't get me wrong, I love carbs. Okay, so we're gonna put our spoon in the sink. We're going to take the bowl part of our food processor off and we're going to pour our mashed cauliflower back into our pot. So now we are going to take our mashed cauliflower and put it back on the stove while our salmon and our broccolini are cooking. So we put it there, we're gonna set it on low, and we'll put the lid on it for good measure. All right, you know what time it is. Our salmon and our broccolini is done. Time to get them out. Okay, it is time to plate. So we're going to take a spoon and we're just gonna mix up our mashed cauliflower a little bit. And we're gonna take a spoonful, put that on our plate. Get another spoonful. Yeah, you're gonna want more of these. Okay, we're gonna set these aside. And we're gonna get a little bit of broccolini. I like mine a little on the crispier side. And last, but certainly not least, our salmon. It's still hot, so gotta get those mitts on. Get this in here. Oh, wow. Look at that. Okay, I think I need to have a little taste. Fork. Here we go. The salmon, it's already, you can tell it's tender, it's flaky. Gotta make sure you get some of that stuffing in there. This is delicious. Now, I love salmon to begin with, but this filling adds a whole new element and a little surprise to this dish. Now I gotta taste the cauliflower. Tastes like mashed potatoes, but you're not eating those carbs. And now for the broccolini. This is really good. And the broccolini is really yummy too. It's great. Now I like mine a little bit on the crispier side. If you don't want it as done, just take it out of the oven a few minutes before you take your salmon out. This is such a well-balanced dish. You can eat this and you feel light because the meal is so light and fresh. You won't feel like you have a food baby inside of you when you're done eating this. And it's delicious and you're getting all of these rich, complex flavors. Thank you again so much for joining me for episode 4 of Food is a Love Language, Cooking with Steph. When I make seafood, it makes me realize that the beach isn't as far away as it feels, and it's definitely in my heart. Pretty soon, we're going to be able to gather again on the beach or elsewhere and enjoy the summer fun as people are getting vaccinated. And I hope you'll join us next time. Stay safe, healthy. See you soon.
Cooking with Steph.